Welcome to the Airgun Show. This week I'm taking a look at the FX Maverick, indoors and on the range. But before that, we're joining Andy Watkins on two separate hunting sessions targeting farmyard feral pigeons.
We've come out here today. The farmer's given me a ring. There's quite a lot of feral pigeons just around the sheds. You've seen me shoot here before. They've got a few cattle and things, and the pigeons just eat the grain and also defecate in it as well, which poses a bit of a disease risk. So I think the plan for today is just to get the gun out and just have a little walk around, and then if we see any hot spots, maybe just have a sit down and a wait, find some cover to hide behind, things like that. The gun I'm going to be using today is going to be the Walther Rain. Really nice gun. I've used it lots of times before. I'm pretty familiar with it by now, so comfortable taking some shots that are perhaps a little bit further. My scope's just going to be held on with sports match mounts. It's 177, my preferred calibre. I just prefer the flatter trajectory, and personally I just find I just shoot better with it. So let's get the gun out of the bag and have a little walk around.
So that's Andy's main gear for the session. He should be all set to bag a few birds for the farmer.
So we're all loaded up now. Camo doesn't need to be all that essential because there's machines moving around the yard as well, so I don't really think the pigeon's going to be too bothered. They're normally set up on the roof, so I'm told. So yeah, just have a look around here and see if there's anything on the roofs.
As Andy has already mentioned, a high level of stealth is not essential for this kind of shooting, as the birds here are already used to a considerable amount of disturbance from farm workers and noisy machinery.
Well, if you remember last time I had a couple of pigeons out of this shed. I think it was 3 pigeons actually. They were all sat up in here, 3 shots, then the rest of them flew off, but there's nothing in here today, so I suppose we won't waste any time in it. I came into this shed, just walked straight past a pigeon, looked behind, and he was sat there just in between 2 buildings, so we'll see how far away he is. $30 yards.
And there's the first one for Andy. It's a feral pigeon and a very clean kill too.
So, really nice headshot there, in just at the back of the eye and out the other side. So yeah, nice one in the bag. Just spotted a wood pigeon up in this tree here, so I think I'm going to see if I can get to the car and use that as a rest. That was a good shot. I gave it a quick estimate of about 45 yards and hit exactly where I planned. Yeah, he's stone dead. Looks like his feathers came out just from where he hit the ground so hard. So I'm back out on the farm today. And the last time I was here was a few months ago, and I shot a couple of pigeons, which you'll remember because it was 2 seconds ago. The kit's all the same, only difference being this time is I'm using the Eagle Vision scope cam with the GoPro, but everything else is as it was. So right off the bat I've spotted a pigeon just in this tree behind me. It's only a young one, so that's why I think it hasn't flown off yet. Well, he went straight down. Went for a heart and lung shot and it did the job. It's only a young one, but all the pigeons around here have got to go. Well, I've just come back from picking that first pigeon and I've spotted another one in some conifers over this little field here. It's not far at all, probably about 25 yards, so could be another pigeon in the bag. That one, there was 2 pigeons, one pretty much directly behind the other. Now I could have angled myself to try and get 2 pigeons with one shot, but realistically it would be pretty pointless because I'd end up just killing one and wounding the other, or wounding them both, so not really what I want to be doing. So I just went for the clean kill on the one, and the other one got away free of harm, so stoked with that one. He's just down there on the floor now, underneath that conifer hedge. I've just dropped those 2 pigeons by the car. I think I'm going to have a walk around the farmyard now and see if I can actually get some ferals. Well, that bird went straight down. I shot him in the back, which went straight into his vital organs, and he didn't even flinch. He just dropped there. Plus, I had a solid backstop with the side cladding of that building. I've just heard some flapping in the shed next door, so I'm going to gently make my way over and see if I can catch them off guard. Well, that's one down out of this shed. I heard a few more. I think there's one just up here. That's 2 down out of this shed. Lovely. Okay, so here's number 2. This is the one that was shot on the roof off the beam. We've got a perfect heart and lung shot just in there. Yeah, dropped instantly on the spot. The reason I went for a heart and lung shot on that one and not a headshot was because The head obviously is a lot less dense than the body of the pigeon, so I didn't really want the pellet going straight through the head and into the what is this, asbestos roof. And then we have the first pigeon that we shot out of the barn, off one of these beams here on the side wall. Now, again, same reason I went for the body shot. I didn't want to risk putting a hole in the wall of the shed. I can hear some cooing just coming out of one of the buildings across the yard here. I think it's probably worth an investigate. There's like a fake roof on it, and I think there's pigeons nesting in the ceiling. Stop now. There's one there. Wow, that one was so close. I had to wind the mag and the parallax down as low as they would both go, and it was still a little bit blurry, but I managed to get a shot off and dropped him with a heart and lung again. He's down here on the floor. I think he started to move just as I pulled the trigger, but by that time it was too late. Thankfully it didn't move far enough for it to be a wounding shot, but yeah. So 5 pigeons, not a bad turnout. It was actually 6, but when I came back one of the pigeons was missing, so I think one of the farm cats might have had a free meal. These birds are going to go down the road to the exotic zoo, and they're going to get fed to the animals, so nothing's going to go to waste. Yeah, thanks for watching.
Andy Watkins and the Walther Rain doing the business on the Farmyard pests there. Next up, I'm taking a look at the FX Maverick bullpup. Here's an airgun that has absolutely exploded onto the scene. It's the FX Maverick. Now, a few months ago we hadn't even heard of it, but now it seems to be absolutely everywhere. Its popularity should be no surprise because it combines elements of the super successful Impact and Wildcat. And if that's not enough, it's even got 2 regulators. Despite its remarkable pedigree, the Maverick is comparatively well priced. This is the standard model, which retails for just over £1,400. There are also compact and sniper models and a VP version which has an aluminium bottle instead of a carbon one and costs about £200 less. As you can see, it's a bullpup, and this version measures 81 centimetres and tips the scales at about 3.1 kilos before you fit a scope. The dual regulators are obviously the real standout feature on this airgun. Now, the concept means that the regulator which delivers the air for the shot is not being fed with air at such a high pressure as that which is in the main bottle. Now, what that amounts to is remarkable shot-to-shot consistency by eliminating any potential regulator creep. This airgun is showing a variation of within 4 feet per second over a string of 10 shots, and in all honesty, that's probably more down to variations in the pellets than power delivery. The gains of the dual regulator system will be greater for high power shooters, and I hope to be able to show you a high power version of this gun pretty soon. Now it also amounts to really good air efficiency, and the 177 caliber sub 12 foot-pound test gun here is capable of returning about 500 shots at full power output from a 250 bar fill. Now the Maverick has two pressure gauges. The one at the front shows overall air pressure in the bottle, and the one at the rear shows regulator pressure. The sub 12 foot-pound model is restricted to keep it UK legal, so you can't adjust its regulator pressure. This one is producing about 11.6 foot-pounds at full output. Now the power is adjustable. There's a dial at the rear with 8 settings which enable you to wind it down as low as about 7.5 foot-pounds. Now again, I think the power adjustment is really going to be more useful for high power shooters. But that said, I expect some sub 12 shooters will find it useful to be able to wind down the power for things like backyard plinking and pest control around farm buildings. Air filling is via a Foster connection near the neck of the bottle, and the adapter comes supplied. Now, typical of all FX bullpups, the Maverick is very tactically styled. It has a Picatinny type scope rail, forward accessory rails on both sides, and also another lower accessory rail beneath the neck of the bottle. Now, although the stock design does look fairly simplistic, it is actually very comfortable to shoot and feels really good in the shoulder. The cheek piece has a nice curved edge. The AR type pistol grip sets you up really nicely for the trigger, and the butt pad is height adjustable. Simply slacken off the locking knob and it slides up and down, enabling you to achieve correct eye alignment with your scope. The Maverick comes fitted with FX's brilliant Smooth Twist X Superior barrel. Now that barrel is quickly and easily interchangeable, so you can switch between calibers and lengths. It also features FX's interchangeable liner system. Now this gun has the 500mm barrel fitted, but there are also 600 and 700mm options. As you can see, it's fitted with a chunky shroud, and at sub 12 foot-pounds it does a pretty good job of keeping the muzzle report quiet. The Maverick runs the same magazine system as the Crown and the Wildcat, and this one holds a very generous payload of 22 177 caliber pellets. It's driven by a really slick side lever mechanism, something that FX perfected some time ago. Now I think the lever is really well positioned, so you can always count on fast, reliable follow-up shots. I'm always picky about triggers, and bullpup triggers can be particularly tricky because of the linkage they require. Now this two-stage unit is fully adjustable, and even the blade can be adjusted for height and angle. Now I would say that it's probably not quite as crisp as my impact, but it is still very good, and I haven't adjusted it at all. Straight from the box, it has just the right amount of first stage weight and travel, and the second stage breaks cleanly with no creep. Moving on to the safety catch, and I have to say that that is probably the only feature of the Maverick that I might be inclined to change. It works well enough and it's quiet to switch on and off, but I don't think it's particularly well positioned being so far back, and it is a bit of a faff to reach. That though is a very small niggle on an otherwise excellent airgun. So that's a quick overview of the main features of the standard version of the sub 12 foot-pound FX Maverick. Let's get on to the range and I'll show you what it shoots like. Well, that's what the sub 12 Maverick can do at 30 meters in windless conditions. Now, I said at the start that the twin regulator system really does deliver fantastic consistency, and when you combine that with a brilliant barrel and a decent trigger, that amounts to really good accuracy. Now, one thing I did notice when shooting this gun is a bit of a ping from the action, but the reason I think I picked up on that is firstly because everything else is so quiet, and secondly because my face is just so close to the action when I'm shooting. Now, I really don't think anything is going to hear that downrange. Most importantly, you just really can't fault this gun's performance in the accuracy stakes. So that's the FX Maverick. This dual regulator system is something really unique at the moment, but I wouldn't be at all surprised to see it becoming a lot more common on high performance air guns in the future. As I've already said, the real gains are going to be enjoyed by high power shooters, but there's still a heck of a lot here for sub 12 airgun shooters to get excited about. Now, the FX Maverick isn't a cheap airgun, but it is a lot more affordable than most of its rivals, and it certainly has features and performance that far exceed its asking price.
Don't miss the award-winning Airgun Shooter magazine. It's packed with hunting features, reviews, tactics and insight to help you become an even more successful shooter. Get your copy today in shops or online.
That's all for this week, but as ever, we'll be back again in a fortnight. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. And if you're a UK airgunner, please take the time to respond to the current government firearms consultation, which could result in more restrictions to our sport. And of course, if you aren't already a member of the BASC, it's time you joined the organisation that works to promote and protect your sport.